Okay, let's get a couple of things clear that may be a little bit hazy. There's two words that really almost have a definition that is, for example, a cult has a definition of almost like being sinister or evil of some type. The true definition of a cult is hidden, and it doesn't mean secretive. It means that the explanations or the reasons for its existence are not on the surface. They've got to be worked at. You have to find them. The second is clairvoyance. Clairvoyance is simply defined clear seeing. Now, when I first heard that, I wondered to myself, why did they call it clear seeing? What could it possibly mean? Let me try and give you an example. Go out tonight or whenever, look at the moon, and realizing that you are not looking at the moon as it is. You are looking at it as it was 1.6, 1.7 seconds ago, because that's how long it takes the light that's been reflected off the moon to get here so you can see it. So there is no real way that you can see the moon as it is right now, except if you tune in your mind. If you see a picture of it in your mind and a picture is real, then you have clear seeing. And that gets us to psychic abilities. Now, we've obviously said everything is connected. And one of the most important things I want to get across to you, your thoughts are things. They're real. They have a result in reality. All right? Now, if you could see yourself in what people have called auras, all right, all this energy that's pulsating around you, this is like your history, okay? Everything about you is in there, and everything that's going to be, which we want to talk about, is in there also. Now, I sit down, having developed a sensitivity to be able to do so. I sit down and I tune in, simply by saying, I want to tune in. And I watch the images that come across my mind's eye. And they come in the forms of symbols. Symbols that mean something to me. And I have to interpret them. And by interpreting them, I'm going to try and pull out of those symbols the meaning for the person that I'm picking up for. Now, the interpretation is not the easiest thing in the world, because some things can come across very, very strangely. But the very first thought that comes into my mind is what I usually give. And usually it turns out to be right. And this is the same for anybody who's involved with psychic readings. Now, it could be something that's going on in the present. It could be something that's about you, that's happened, because like I said, everything is in there. Or it could be something in the future. Now, how is that possible? Okay. Here's this history. And you may have heard of something called the law of attraction. So that vibration that you create, okay, that vibration is going to attract certain events. It's going to attract vibrations that are compatible with it. So you are headed in a certain direction. And one of the things that is very important is that you create your life. In other words, you draw yourself to situation by the actions that you perform, the decisions that you make, obviously, okay? And that brings you to certain conclusions. So what I'm seeing when I pick up something that's precognitive, and that's what you call it when you're picking up something that happens in the future, is the single greatest potential at that particular point in time. You're not predestined to go through this. You're not destined to absolutely fall into whatever that consequence is. It can be changed at any time. These interpretations are, again, not the easiest thing in the world, but it can often have meaning to the person and not necessarily to you. And there have been times over the years when I would see something and I'd go, geez, that's crazy, you know. But I'm going to give it. I give it an interpretation, and lo and behold, it turns out to be right. Now, this is one of the things that I think it's important, for the simple reason this can be of great value to somebody in helping them, to helping them see where they are, to help them understand the consequences of their actions. We're not doing this to be fortune tellers. We're not fortune tellers, because, as I said, the person who is receiving this can change it all very easily. But what happens is this, is we all fall into patterns in terms of the way that we do things. So a lot of the times, the things that you see, the things that you predict, occur because the person is going to remain within those parameters. In other words, his actions are going to lead him to it because he falls into a pattern. So where does this lead us? How can it be of benefit? You know, we find ourselves in positive situations, negative situations, and you go, how did I get here? And the negative things that we do, or the positive things, it's very hard to change. Change is the most difficult thing that we face in our lives, because we feel comfortable the way that we do things. So making those changes is a difficult thing to do. So this can help to lead us in the right direction. But what we have to do, and this is extremely important, is we have to live consciously. We have to understand what our thoughts do, the consequences that they have. Now, when I say live consciously, what I mean is, let's say you're doing something that's not so good for you. And you go along and you try and make corrections, and you try and make corrections, but then you fall into the pattern again. And you're so used to that pattern that you just go right ahead and you just keep propagating it, one moment after another, as opposed to living consciously moment by moment. It's not an easy thing to do, to make change. But it's something you can do if you really work at it. So I've seen readings and things that are given to people from either somebody like myself or other people who are involved with being psychic, be of extreme benefit to them, to help them find their way in the day-to-day battle that we fight, not only with the outside world in terms of making our daily bread, but the day-to-day battle that we fight with ourselves. Because change is a very hard thing to do. But things are changing all the time because we are evolving. And how we evolve, how fast or how slow, is up to us. We are in control, and we don't even realize it. We can make the changes that can make our lives and the lives of those around us better, if we only focus and do everything we can to accomplish that goal. The next video will deal with, I think, is the most important subject that I want to talk about, and that's being a medium or mediumship. And we'll see you then.